Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for attending. This is Steve Shriver at IMR Limited, and today we're going to talk about the changes that you will see in your system at the IMR Software as a Service offering, sometimes referred to as the ASP. First thing you'll notice, of course, if you can see the screen clearly, is that the splash screen is different. It's this pretty green leaf with a little drop of water on it. Everybody's going green today. I guess the programmers are as well. The important thing to realize is that your login credentials have not changed. The URL that you use to access the system has not changed, so everything will work just like it did before. It's just going to look a little different. On this checkbox on the left-hand side here, you see we have this option, Keep Me Logged In. You may have seen that before. If you check that box, what will happen is the next time you log in, you'll see, as I have here, my credentials are already saved. I don't have to do anything except click the login button, and it saves you a few keystrokes. The other option that is new is Start a New Window. If you choose that option, what happens is that it removes the browser-specific functions from the screen, so everything that you see is all part of the document management system, and it just gives you a little bit more real estate. If you have a smaller screen, that might be helpful. If you don't like it, you can just turn it off. If we have anybody attending from overseas or from anywhere where somebody who just speaks a different language, you can actually change the language that's used here, and it's pretty effective. But we'll stay with English for today. So I click the login button, and there is our system. You may notice that it looks a little different, but also a little bit the same. Your file cabinets and task lists are listed here on the left-hand side. Below you have the basket area. The basket is just a temporary area, analogous to the in-basket on your desk. This is where documents go before they get stored permanently in the file cabinet. If any of you are not using baskets and you would like to, just let us know. Send us an email or call the 888 number. Service at IMR Digital is our email address. Excuse me. And of course, you can always contact your sales representative, and he can speed that along for you. The biggest and most obvious change is that what used to be over here on the left, that was an icon that said My Docuware, has been replaced by this consolidated menu. Right here where you see your login name, you can click, and all of the things that used to be scattered around are all in this one place. You can turn on and off the various file cabinets and baskets that you use. You can sort them in a different order if you like. And your viewer preferences, the various tools that you use. Also the views, as everybody knows, there are 3 views. You can switch back and forth between the one that you find most comfortable. It depends. Some of them are more effective in a 2-monitor situation, and some are more effective if you only have 1 monitor. And then over here on the right we have some applications, and these are new, and we're going to speak about these near to the end of the session. Also here, this is very important, switch viewer version. On the right hand side here, what we see is the new HTML5 viewer. Don't worry about what HTML5 is, but just know that it gives you some additional features, and it also requires rather a newer browser. So you have to have Internet Explorer version 9 or version 10 in order for this to be effective. It also works with a Firefox version 17, I believe it is, if any of you are using Firefox. It works pretty well with the Google Chrome browser, but the Google Chrome browser is not officially supported. So if you ever use it and have problems with it, there's probably not much we can do about it. If you use it, and I use it, and I have great success with it, then that's fine, as long as it works for you. The other thing that's different is that the documents in the basket now have a right-click menu. So if you right-click on a document, you have this menu and these sub-menus pop up automatically. So here in Open/Edit, we have display the document in a viewer, displayed in a new viewer, which means a separate browser window, or edit it. If the document can be edited, if it's a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet, you can edit it in place right here in DocuWare, and it will save when you're done and keep all your changes and put it right back where it was before. Under Organize, we have the ability to staple or unstaple documents together. We can clip or unclip documents together. The difference between these two is the same as it is on your desk. If you staple pages together, they become one single document. If you use a paper clip, they can be separated again, and it preserves, basically it preserves the integrity of the file format. So you can clip a Word document to a PDF or a video or whatever you have, and it will still be one document, but when you unclip it, it will be those three. If you staple or unstaple, if you staple 6 pages together, it will be one 6-page document. If you unstaple it, it will be 6 one-page documents. And you'll get the hang of that pretty quick. Show index entries allows you to see any index values that have already been applied to this document. Usually in a basket, a document has not been indexed yet, but there are situations now where it can be pre-indexed by some of our other modules. And so we can view that information here just to make sure it's correct. Rename, if you don't like the name of the document, you can change it. Delete, and one thing I want to say about deleting is that when you delete from a basket, it's not really gone. There is a little icon of a trash can here that shows up as a recycle bin, and anything that gets deleted is actually kept here. If you want to delete it for real, you have to right-click on it and choose Delete Permanently, or you can use your delete key. We could highlight several of these and delete them all at once. And notice it prompts you to make sure that you want to permanently delete this object. So if you permanently delete something, you cannot call me and tell me you did it by accident. Then we have print. I'm sorry, the next one is store in file cabinet. That's what everybody normally does. If you choose a file cabinet here, what happens is you get the same store dialog that you're used to. You notice that the baskets jump out of your way to save you that space, and it makes it a little bit more comfortable to look at. Now, I'm going to go back to the basket and show some of the other menu options, but I want to get back to this storage dialog pretty quickly. We also have send as email, print, and download. Those are as PDF with or as PDF without annotations. An annotation is anything that you have marked the document up with. In this case, it's marked up with an approved stamp. If you print it with annotations, that will be part of the document. Without, this part will be left off. The same goes for your send option. This is send by email. You have as PDF with, as PDF without. These are the ones I would recommend if you're emailing documents. The original format and the DocuWare format may be such that your recipient won't be able to open the file. Everybody can open a PDF. PDF is the default standard the world over. And the new default standard image file format for the system is PDF-A. It's a more compact and lightweight version of PDF. It doesn't have all of the text searching and other kind of Adobe specific properties built into it. It's about the same as the compressed TIFF images that we're used to, about 50K per black and white 8.5 by 11 page, so it doesn't stress out the storage systems, and it's also works really well with our new features. Download gives you the same options, and use as sample document. That is brand new. That's to enable you to use this as a template for future printer or import configurations, and the printer and import features are new, so we'll show you them in a few minutes. Back to the storage dialog. This is the thing that I like the most. If you'll notice, when you store a document and you're using this new viewer, now keep in mind, the new viewer requires a newer version of Internet Explorer or some other browser. These fields are highlighted automatically in yellow. And what that means is that I can go over here to this page and I can simply click on a word, and you'll notice the word gets transferred to the index value and the highlight jumps to the next field. So the next highlight is subject. I'll say this is my subject. It pops that data right in and then asks for the next field. I can still use my drop downs, so I can still make selections from my select list. I can, if you're at a date format, you need to match that with something that's in the right format. So I'm going to click on this date. I'm going to bypass this one. Here's another date. I'm just going to click on that date. And if the date format is not exactly what you see over here, we're always going to have the date format that's determined in the system. In this case, month or day, month, year. Over here, this one is the same. If it wasn't, the system would translate it for you. So if you only had one-digit dates, or if it said FEB 10, 2009, whatever, it would get translated. Again, received by, I'll just go up here and say Davis Automation. That gets automatically transferred. This is an amount field, so we need a numerical value. I'll click down here, $1,992. The contact number is a phone number, let's just say that. And the invoice number is up here, so we'll just highlight that invoice number, and it pops it right in there. That makes your indexing really fast, and it also makes it pretty accurate. This is OCR based, of course, and as you can see, I'm going to change this. I'm going to go pick this one. It's pretty accurate. It almost always gets it. On occasion, you'll get an 8 that shows up as a B, or a 3 that shows up as an E, or something where you can just change it by using the keyboard. Once you have all the documentation that you need, all the index values are filled in, you just click the Store button as usual. The document gets deleted from the basket and is stored in the file cabinet. So the new things that you're going to see, the splash screen that we showed you before, the pretty green splash screen, the new menu on the documents in the basket. Again, if you aren't using baskets and you want to, just let us know. They're very handy for bringing documents in. There's an option here to import documents, which simply browses you out to your desktop. You can pick a document or several. Let's pick 2. And they will upload immediately into the system. The other obvious difference is this consolidated menu. Just click on your username here, and all of your options for changing the way the system looks to you. If you like the 2-in-1 view or the all-in-one view, or you want to close a file cabinet or close a basket, these are all available to you in the same spot. And if you log out, there's your log out button. The other option that's new, and I'll just display a document here real quick, there are some navigation tools at the top of the screen. You have your next page, you have your previous and next file, and you have your previous and next document, so you can hop through the documents in the basket. And you also have over here any stamps that you want to place are available to you here. And you have a zoom in, which makes the document bigger, and zoom out, which makes the document smaller. Now, if I go to page 2 of this, we have another option. Excuse me. This little button right here will split the document starting with this page. So I am on page 2 of 6, and notice what happens in the basket. When I click on this split, it makes a new document of the first page, and the second document is still here. So now I have 5 pages, and I can continue to do that as long as I'm not on page 1. So now I can have another document. It automatically gets created and put into the basket, and I can keep on going until I have all 4 of these pages separated into separate documents, if necessary. There are other ways to do that, of course. This is the thumbnail view. It simply displays each document as a view. If you like this one, you can just pick it right from this list. You also have that ability right here in your navigation panel. You can look at the documents, and if you click on the plus sign, you can make them bigger until you see the one you want, and then pick that, and it'll display right away in the viewer. And then, of course, you have your standard image size buttons where you can see the whole image, you can see the width, or you can see the entire page if you want to. So everything works the same way. You just have an additional option. And the reason for this is there used to be a way to close this window and make it disappear, which would just give you a little bit more viewer space. You can collapse these if you don't need to look at them. I think it's actually here. Yeah, there you go. It's at the top here. So you can open or close this display, and that just gives you a more area to use the viewer. So, a new viewer, new menus in the basket by right-clicking on the document, new menus for the system itself by clicking on your username, the switch viewer version. If you don't have a newer browser, you can switch back to, this is the old viewer. This is the way it used to look, with the navigation pane all on the left-hand side and nothing at the top. All of those things still work just the way they work right now, but notice you don't have the point and shoot capability anymore. If you click and hold down your mouse and drag it, it moves the document. So if I want to index this document with the point and shoot indexing, I have to switch the viewer back to the HTML5 viewer. You can recognize it by this toolbar on the top, and when I go to store the document, I can, as you see, simply point and shoot, which makes indexing a breeze. So that's what you're going to see. And again, as I said, we actually had planned to do this the Monday after next, but it looks like I get to work this weekend, and we're going to be ready to go this coming Monday, and I believe that is the 23rd. Yep, that's the 30th of September. So we're, depending on which document you received, we're either a week ahead of schedule or we're right on time. Either way, those are both good things. I am going to look at the question section here. If anybody has asked a question, nobody has yet. If anybody wants to, go ahead and please do that anytime you feel like it. Okay, so now what I want to tell you about is some of the features that are available that you have never seen before. And the way that you get to them is, again, in this new consolidated menu. You've already seen the switch viewer version. Here we have install client applications. This is new. And what happens when you click on that, and you only have to install them one time, is that depending on your permissions and your what your administrator has decided to make available to you, you will get this little pop-up window, this little dialog. This is a one-time installation. Click Next. And here are the options that you have. And if you hold your mouse over, it tells you what they are. Now, some of these are at no charge, and they come with the new client. and some of them are additional. Again, you can send us an email, call the 888 number, or call your sales representative, and they can help you with what the prices are, etc. Most of them are not very much. The very first one is Connect to Outlook. We won't go over this today, but I will tell you this makes DocuWare available to you from within your Outlook email client. It is really handy. You can store documents, retrieve documents, view documents, index documents right from within your Outlook mail client. So that gives you, if you receive a lot of documents via email as attachments, you can store them directly into a basket or into a file cabinet and index them at that time. You can pre-populate indexes with the properties of the email, like the sender's name and the receipt date, and etc. This is an additional charge. I don't know what the price is per month yet. That's a sales guy thing, so you got to call your sales guy to find out about that. DocuWare Desktop, however, comes with the system. You can install this one if you like, and I'll show you what the features are there. The upload service, that also comes with the system. It's at no charge. You can download that if you like, and I will show you what that does as well. The Workflow Designer is a brand new thing. It's very powerful and also very complicated. It not only costs more money to have the software, but you also have to get somebody like me or somebody at IMR involved to design a workflow. But if you have to, if you need a document-based workflow that passes documents around the company and allows you to perform various tasks and operations, invoice approval is the most simplistic variation of a workflow, but there might be something. If you have a really complicated workflow, you can use the Workflow Designer. The important thing, I guess, to realize about this new version is now this software is extended. This software is extended so that it can be used within an entire enterprise as if it was installed down the hall in the server room and still be hosted by IMR. You don't have any backups to worry about. You don't have any maintenance or PC guys to deal with. You don't have any upfront investment. You can still have the documents hosted and served up to you over the internet, but you have all the features of an in-house installation of this software. So that's the big takeaway from today's session. Windows Explorer Client, this is very interesting. I like this. We're going to talk about this a little bit right now. DocuWare Update gets installed by default. DocuWare Update is one of those things that allows, you've seen this on your iPhone or your Android phone. There's an application that has been updated, and do you want to install it, and you just click yes. That just happens. It just appears on the screen one day, and you just click yes, and you get to do it. You can't install it or uninstall it. It's just a basic part of the system. So I'm going to cancel this, and let's talk about first the DocuWare Desktop. So the DocuWare Desktop is a little client application. It sits in your system tray. If you can see this part of the screen, it's this little blue circle on the right of the screen, and it gives you these options: web scan and import. So we'll start with scan first. Here's a scanning interface. Comes with every client, available to anybody who logs in. There are some settings that have to be dealt with the first time. These settings are specific to the scanner that you have attached to your workstation. The scan client is going to read the options from your scan driver, and you get to choose whether it's a feeder or the flatbed, and whether it's black or white or color, etc., etc. Here, you can auto-rotate and deskew. That means if you put the page in upside down or crooked, the system will straighten it out for you. Here you can delete blank pages. That means if you're looking at both sides and there's nothing on the back and you want them deleted, you can do that here. And this shows you the actual native scanner interface when you click the scan button. So if you have a scanner that's not quite compatible, maybe it's older or maybe it's newer, my scanner has to use this. I bought the cheapo version at Best Buy, but I'm sure none of you will do that. You buy all your scanners from IMR, but be that as it may, that option is available to you there. So here's the scan option. Now, if I push the scan button, my scanner is going to fire up, and it's going to take 12 minutes to put documents in, so I'm not going to do it. But, yeah, maybe I will do it. But here's what it looks like. Here's the end result. You can see these two pages were scanned as one document. This page was scanned by itself. Here you have the option to specifically insist that each sheet in the feeder is considered a new document. And here you can check that you want the documents to be automatically uploaded as soon as you scan them. So if I highlight this document and push the upload button, as you can see, it disappears. There's this little activity thing. The DocuWare job is finished, and then over here, see, it has popped up into the basket. So it transfers that directly to the system, and now you can right-click on it and use your Store in File Cabinet button to store that document away. The other option is if you have multiple pages and you don't really want it that way, you can click on this document, this little menu button here, rotate the page if you need to, delete a page if you need to, delete the entire document if you need to, and you can also split the document right here, and what you'll see is that makes it into two separate documents. Then if you want to add a page to this document, you click Add, and the scanner starts right away. Again, there's my scanner interface, and there it is on my screen. Quick check to see that I've got some paper in there, and it starts to scan. So we'll give that a minute or two to percolate. And eventually we'll have a document to look at. As I said, my scanner is very slow. Okay, so that's over, and the new page has appeared as page 2 of this document. And I can upload that, and you will see that it appears right here in my basket. Again, as you notice, the little icon says PDF. The default format is PDF. And there's the image. And it has 2 pages. And we can change the size. So, that in a nutshell is how the scanning interface works. Now, I'm going to bring this back up and show you in this second option here, Import Configurations. You can use the scanner with an import configuration, and an import configuration kind of looks like this. You can specify these various configurations and where they're going to be if you're using them to import, or what they're going to be when you use them for a scanning template. And that's probably confused you a little bit, so let me just go ahead and click on one of these settings I'll use this one, and I'm going to open up that configuration. So here we have what's known as a scan configuration or an import configuration, and what you'll see is that I've got several here. So I'm going to click on this one, which is the one we were looking at. I'm going to click on the edit button just to show you how this works. You get this menu. I'm going to click next. Again, we will help you with this if you acquire this module. So here's the import configuration. I've drawn a box around this invoice number, and I've said that the invoice number is in this location on every page, and that I want to split the document, and I want to split it before the page if the invoice number is different from the previous page. So if I have a 2-page invoice, it'll stay 2 pages. If I have 3 1-page invoices, it'll automatically be split into 3 separate documents. When I look at the indexing section, you can see that I've drawn little boxes around these various fields and said where they go in the file cabinet. Okay? This is called DocuWare Import or DocuWare Barcode and Forms. It allows for the splitting and the indexing of documents. I'm going to go ahead and close out of here and log out of that system and close that page. The import is available and the scanning is available, but the actual recognition part, the OCR part and the barcode reading part, is a little bit extra money. So you have the basic features that you get with the client, and then you can advance them a little bit if you need to by including that other module. The import will do the same thing, except instead of you scanning it using the scan interface, you drop it in a folder somewhere on your disk or in the network. So you can see I've got several set up here. I put them in this folder, I put them in this folder, I put them in this folder, and they're automatically uploaded into either the basket or the file cabinet, which makes more sense because this allows them to be indexed automatically. You can see we can start all the jobs, stop all the jobs, start one time, start one for good. You don't have to watch them. They can run in the background somewhere. Things will just happen automatically. So new feature, the scan interface, the import interface, and the combined use of templates for either scanning or importing. So once again, I'm going to close this now. Once again, you simply click on here, you click Install Client Applications, you run that, and you choose DocuWare Desktop, and it downloads all of that stuff for you. I'm going to leave this up here because we'll be talking about this again in a minute. The other option that's part of DocuWare Desktop is DocuWare Printer. Now, I'm simply going to open up Microsoft Word, and here it is right here. And I'm going to open up a recent document that was, this is my daughter's resume. When I go to print this, I'm simply going to go from within Word, click on Print, select the printer, and the printer that I'm going to select is the DocuWare printer. And when I click OK, document goes off. I'm going to close Word, and you'll see I get a little notification that the job is finished, and over here is my document. And there it is. Now, again, you'll notice from the icon, it has been converted to a PDF. Also, notice this little information icon. And this says there's no matching configuration found, so the document has been stored here. But what it doesn't say is, if I click on that, I can use it for a configuration. So what I want to show you real quick, and I'm going to do this magically. Again, some of these options on these menus are going to depend on your permissions, both on your computer and within the system. If you have any questions about that, please send us an email, give us a call, ask your sales guy for the additional help or the additional modules. So I'm going to go here to DocuWare Printer. And again, I have a couple already configured, and what I'll do is I'm going to create a new one, and it's going to ask me which file cabinet I want to store it in. I'll just accept that first one and click Next. And where's the sample document? That sample document is in the basket. I click OK. It goes and gets the baskets. It is basket 1, and it is Microsoft Word, Stephanie's resume. It shows me this, okay? Now, I have a couple of options here. I can execute this configuration when the document was printed from the application, and then there should be an application name here. There's a little thing here, why can't I use this? And the reason it can't be used is because this is a 64-bit application printing to a 32-bit system. If you have a 64-bit computer like I do, and you have a 32-bit Microsoft Word like I do, then they don't match. If I had a 64-bit Word program running on my computer, this would say Microsoft Word. So I could check this little box, and which means anytime this is printed from Microsoft Word, I wanted to use this template. So you could use some other in-house line of business application, and every time you print from that application, it would use this template, and it could be invoices or purchase orders or whatever. Or I can draw a box around a text field, and once I do, I can say this configuration is going to be used when in this spot on the page it says this text, or here's equals. I can also have begins with, contains, empty, or ends with, equals, or is empty, or is different from the previous page. So if this was a standardized document, I could do that as well. Again, with splitting, I can split the document after a fixed number, or I can draw a box around the name, for example, and I can split this document before the page if this area equals the text, or begins, contains, ends, is empty, or is different from the previous page. So this is really a handy way that you can print any kind of document from any application that you have running on your workstation and get it automatically split and indexed. When we split the page and we use this configuration, we can put this field in this file cabinet index, and we can put this field in this file cabinet index, and you can see it reads the text. We can also edit any of these. We can add a fixed entry like the word invoice, so that this particular document and all the documents that get printed always have the word invoice in there. Or we can use a dynamic entry, which is something like current date, current time, date the file was created, or the date the file was modified. So we have both of those options available to us as well. And then we can put an overlay. If we want to put a letterhead on this, we want to put our company's invoice form over top of this and just fill in the data, we can do that as well. The next thing is we can also redirect it to a printer and print a hard copy. We know we're going to get a copy in the DocuWare system, but we can also get a hard copy if we prefer. And if we do, we could print that one without the letterhead, and we could print an additional document and add it too. So we could print an invoice and add payment requirements. We could print an invoice and add the remittance advice, or we could print a check and add the check stub, or whatever would be appropriate. We also can electronically sign the document. And we need a certificate in order to do that, and this one is for an iPhone. It's not going to work, but it will find the certificate that you have installed on your machine. Again, you will need help with that. God knows I would too. If you want to electronically sign your documents, which makes it easy for you to email them to people and be sure at the same time that they haven't been modified, you can do that. And then the last thing is you can assign these permission to use this to any of the users that you have in your system or any of the roles that you have in your system. And also you can decide who the administrator or administrators of this can be. It's a very nice, it's a very powerful, handy little option. And you can install it from the web page under Client Applications when it becomes available Monday. Okay, here's another little thing I forgot to mention about the baskets. You can put your store dialogues in this little column over here. Then you can just drag documents over and store them in the file cabinet like that. That's just a little sidebar. The other application I want to mention quickly is the DocuWare desktop. I'm going to start it up here from my Start menu. This is another little tiny baby application that sits in your system tray. I'll open up the configuration window and show you what it does. This monitors folders on your system. These are called watchers because they watch for activity. So this program, CDemo Upload, if I go to my disk and I go to CDemo and I take one of these images and copy it and then I paste it in this upload directory, it's going to show up in this basket. Now, there are time constraints. You can run that every few minutes. You can run it twice a day. You can do it whenever it's appropriate. We also wait a minute or two to make sure that the file is completely complete, that the copy's been done. If it's a very large file, that might take us a few seconds. Here we go. The upload service says it's there by now, and sure enough, there it is. So that is the upload service. And again, it runs in the system tray. It's a very small, lightweight client. It just does that one thing. It puts documents from your disk or from any disk on the network into the basket for you to store. This one comes with the system. There's no extra charge. It only does this one thing. But if you have a big scanner down the hall like a multifunction device, you want to scan a bunch of documents to a folder on a network, you can ask the file or the upload service to watch that particular location, and then anything that you scan to that directory will be uploaded to your basket and you can store it in the system. Okay, last but not least, we have the Windows Explorer client. I will cancel this and I will show you what that looks like. Now, as you can see, I just clicked on Windows Explorer and I get the typical Microsoft Windows Explorer view that everybody knows and loves very well. But what is different about this is, if you look at my computer, you will see that DocuWare is presented as a system folder in Windows. Looks like it's local to your network. It is not. It is a client that is attached to the server up in the cloud, and all the documents, even though they appear to be on your C drive are actually on that server. When you open up, it presents you all the file cabinets that have been configured for this, and when you open that file cabinet, it presents a hierarchy of folders just like Windows Explorer. And you can drill down until you get to the right place. When you right-click on these documents, you can view them, which opens them in read-only. You can open them in the web viewer so that if they're part of a workflow where you pass documents around by placing stamps on the document, you can use the web viewer to do that. You can edit the documents and have the changes recorded in the native application. This is a docx file. If I edit it, it's going to open up in Word. Sure enough. Any changes, if I make a change here, I just put VBNMKOP right there. When I save this and I say yes to the save, it's going to go back where it came from. It's going to be saved in DocuWare, and it's also going to be available immediately over the internet. So you can use this client. The beauty of this client is that it is your users already know how to use Windows Explorer. Now they know how to use Windows Explorer, and you can also look at the index data and change it or just read it, whatever is appropriate for this particular instance. Now, another thing is that you can copy and paste into this folder. So if I, again, go out to my disk and I go to Demo and get an invoice and copy it, when I bring it over here and paste it into this folder, you can see I get an indexing dialog, a storage dialog. It's already indexed to the level I have chosen. It's already going to be in the new folder. It's already going to be a type of service visit. All I need to do is add, and I have my select list available here. I can just add information from the select list. When I store the document, you'll get a little pop-up that says, well, no, you don't get a pop-up on this one, but it is now in DocuWare as well. And if you double-click on that folder, you'll see now I have two documents. I have this one, which I index the same. This is that invoice PDF. Now, if I view it, it's going to open up in Adobe Acrobat. If I right-click and choose Open in Web Viewer, it's going to open up in my web viewer. That might be necessary because I need to approve it. Thank you very much. And when I close it, I'm back to Windows Explorer. Again, this is a one-click installation right from this web page right here in Install Client Applications. It's called the Windows Explorer Client, and the beauty of it is you can move this system out to a lot of people in your organization, and the learning curve is very, very, very short because most people already know how to use Windows Explorer. But you have all the features of the DocuWare system, and it looks like the documents are on your C drive, but they're all out in the cloud, and so you get the benefits of both of those things. I think I'm done talking. I don't have much else to tell you about this. This is pretty much all there is, but it's a lot actually. So again, I'm going to look at the control panel, and I'm going to expand my questions that have been asked area. And let's see. Does Explorer Folder View show the folder hierarchy? Yes, it does. What you looked at in mine was a little bit skimpy because I don't have very many documents. So when I open the folder, I get only one. But if I go to, let's take this document here and look at the index data. Okay, I'm going to change this number to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to leave this here, and I'm going to change this to, I'm going to call this one Deb, because Deb asked the question, and the type of service is interview, and the status is new. So when I close that, say OK to it, that document disappears from here, but you'll see DocuWare has already created a new folder, because now we have a document with this name on it. So anything that's a value at this level in the index field will be a folder at this level, and then when you open this folder, whatever is a index value is at this level gets shown as a folder at this level. The index values are what determine the hierarchy. You'll need our help to set that up for you, but we're happy to do it. And you can have more than one view. This one is summary forms by HCI WSP. That means the documents are summary forms from the summary forms cabinet, and they are sorted by the name of this person referred to as a HCI. So they're summary forms. That's a person's name. This is the interviews that that person is given. These are the new interviews, and there's the document. It works just like Windows. I'm looking at the question section. Anybody who wants to ask a question, please do so. It's going on 3 o'clock, and we're going to close this up pretty quick. This session has been recorded. We're going to make it available to you on the IMR Digital website at www.imrdigital.com. On the right-hand side, there's a panel that says What's New, and there's going to be a listing for the Software as a Service webinar. You can replay this because I know you all really, really like to listen to me talk. If there's no more questions, I'll let you go. Thank you for attending. This is Steve Schreiber at IMR Limited. Have fun with it. Thanks.